Welcome to 3 Ways to Create Multimedia Domination with the Multiplicity-Preneur Factor, Part 2. I am AliNICOLE, while she does it all, and I am serving as the Chief Multiplicity-Preneur Pioneer. I am joined by the one and only Multiplicity Moundbuilder, Joseph L. Jones Jr., and we are the founders of the Multiplicity Monument Empires, and that particular empire provides several platforms that serve multiplicity entrepreneurs at different levels, and we are also the creators of the Multiplicity Marketplace Media Tours, and we leverage that platform to showcase the various levels of a new norm of media domination in the marketplace with multiplicity-preneurship. So, Joseph, thanks again for being here with me to share on this topic.
Thanks so much. And I'm very much excited about this topic and the information that's going to come forth from it.
Awesome. Well, I am too, because we both know how important this particular topic is. And so before I jump into sharing really 3 more aspects around this, I'm going to just recap a little bit of what we talked about in part 1. I won't go into details because I'm going to invite others to go and listen to the part 1. But what we did cover was about creating a multidimensional branding and empire expression with your media presence. And then we talked about setting up your brand and empire for revenue recognition. And then we discussed creating a multimedia domino multiplicity marketing effect. So you certainly want to go back and listen to that particular segment that we did, or re-listen, for sure, if you have heard it. So what I want to do, Joseph, is provide 3 more important factors. And then, of course, I would love for you to share your thoughts and commentary, about those. So are we ready to dive into this?
We are indeed ready.
You're great. All right. So the first one that I want to mention is multimedia domination marketplace mindset with multiplicity. I know that's a mouthful, but this is very important. You need to have a multimedia domination and in a marketplace type of mindset as it relates to the multiplicity. So, there's a quote, and I don't remember exactly who said it, but I'll just paraphrase. But the quote talks about, don't compete, dominate. And for me, as the creator of the New Era Marketplace Trajectories, and also someone who has taken over industries and dominated in the media with my multidimensional brand and empire expression that has over 500 online platforms and close to 300 publications on Amazon, and also this multiplicity monument presence. So my mindset, level up factor, and work ethics over the years has been certainly sicker than your average for sure, to cultivate this type of awareness. But one thing that most will find and they're wowed about is that it is in a very simplistic format that I multiply my brand and empire, across the media. And I will say this, though I am multifaceted in my initiatives, but I am laser focused on my ultimate goal for domination. And I leverage a variety of methods to multiply, my efforts, obviously. However, my mindset is so hardwired and it is programmed to disrupt, to demonstrate, and to dominate in the media in the most unimaginable ways. So, I'm multiplicity in my methods and my mindset, yet I'm also singularly focused that I will dominate leveraging multiplicity, because for me, that's it. There is only multiplicitypreneurship, and never just a one-dimensional way of brand beingness or empire expression. And this all has to do, again, with the mindset. So you have to have the mindset and the program default that you will dominate with multiplicity, not to compete, but to dominate. And the good news is that when you have a domination mindset, you eliminate competition because there won't be any competition. So you have to be the one to set the new industry standards for your arena and create these new marketplace norms with a domination effect through the multiplicity preneurship. And so you have to be singly focused on that, is that I'm not here to compete, because if I am rising to my higher potential and leveraging myself in multiple ways across the media, well, you can't compete with that. I mean, no one can compete with that, and they can't replicate that. They can replicate, or how should I say it? You can show up in your own authenticity, modeling it a certain way, but you want to be able to bring out your own uniqueness, which is something that, I teach, is that I can be, yes, a template or a model to look at in what's possible in creating new norms, but never saying you need to do it the way that I've done it. No, you can take certain tools and certain aspects, and then you'll find for yourself the best ways for you to be able to leverage. And that's why a lot of times within our trainings, we lay the foundations, and then we direct people to different publications that we have that are in journal style format, action planner formats, so that people can start bringing out their own information and not be inundated with all of what we're sharing. We just want to evoke, stimulate, be the trigger mechanics for people to awaken what's in them, and then they'll play out in their multiplicity entrepreneurship, in the ways that they're actually destined for. So let me move on to number 2, because I can get stuck on any of these concepts and then just keep talking about them on so many different levels. So the next one is multimedia domination, multiplicity mission. So you need to have a mission, all right? We talked about the mindset, but for the multimedia effect, in order to dominate with multiplicity, you have to have a mission. You must have a chief aim and a primary mission for your domination effect. So this can be your big why for domination, but you're leveraging multiplicity preneurship, because that's what it's all about. So being able to make an impact on more people by multiplying your expertise as a brand, as an entrepreneur, this should always be your highest priority, so that you don't limit your potential or even your ability to expand and evolve others to go beyond their limitations. You got to be the template setter and the example, because when you limit yourself, you're limiting the people who are here to benefit from your experience. So you want to be able to make sure that you are demonstrating these different aspects of your giftings and your talents, so that you can reach more people. Become all things to all men, that you may win some, you may bring them into their own higher, alignment. So your mission to dominate should also be about taking your rightful place of authority-preneurship, okay? Not just your rightful place of authority, your rightful place of authority-preneurship, so that you stand out and you overtake in your perspective, so that you don't get lost in what we see continuously is in the sea of sameness in the marketplace that puts you in the category for competition. And as I mentioned, that the domination effect, it collapses the competition. So you want to make that part of your mission, for your higher service. So I'm going to go into the next one, because I can feel myself wanting to talk so much more around that particular aspect. So the next one is multimedia multiplicity domination money model. So you need to have that in check. A multimedia multiplicity domination money model. So as we focused on the revenue recognition aspect in part one, you want to make sure that you have a multi-level profits model in place to dominate, not just with impact, but for income. So, when you set up a variety of online platforms to create multi-levels of offerings, because you need to have that, then you will dominate the profit space in the media with really landslide sales. And something we've been talking about more is consistent residual revenue flow. And this is extremely important. So the importance of this is why you really want to diversify, multiply, maximize, and monetize your multiplicity-preneurship for this multimedia domination. This particular area right here, I could go all in and talk about for days on, but I'm going to leave it there because I believe that the three principles that have been given today, in addition to the ones in part one, are going to be really the foundation, because honestly, all of what I'm sharing is really still foundation. And so, Joseph, I would love to hear your thoughts around these.
Wow, those are tremendous.
Oh, thank
Those
you.
are absolutely tremendous. If we look at what has been presented, it's basically the three M's to media domination. Mind,
Mm-hmm.
it's mindset, mission, and money model.
Yes.
And if we start with the mindset, everything starts with the right thought.
Mm-hmm.
The right thought put into place and applied, which would be applied through the mission, which speaks more to the objective and the tasks
Yes.
that are
Yes.
involved with doing that. And then, of course, the establishment and the implementation of whatever your money model is
Mm.
and what you seek to receive in terms of compensation
Yes.
for the work that you're putting forth. These are absolute jewels. And
Oh, thank you.
just with these three, starting with that mindset,
Mm-hmm.
this is where the domination begins.
Yes.
And this is
That's
where the
right.
takeover begins. So
Absolutely.
today for business owners could be day one to the takeover.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Getting it
Mm-hmm.
in your mind what you
Mm-hmm.
want to do and aligning with that mind of media domination,
Yes.
having a media domination mindset, and then being about your mission, or as we used to say back in the day, being about your work.
Yeah.
and, and as you do that, you'll get the bag, which is the money that's
Exactly.
attached to
Right.
the efforts that you're putting forth. So all of
Mm-hmm.
this is absolutely stellar. It's important,
Oh,
it's
thank you.
necessary. And this is what we talk about when we say that AliNICOLE is the living example of media domination
Oh,
and
thank
the
you.
actual living blueprint of all of these different tools and jewels that she brings forth. She's
Hmm.
the actual embodiment of that. So
Oh,
thanks a lot for
thank you.
laying that out as dynamically as you have.
Oh, you're most welcome. I appreciate your words. Wow, whoa, man, I just need to sit with that for just a moment. I'm really grateful for um, just what you've shared. And I always love the way that you commentate, the way you communicate and you bring home the different elements and aspects of what's been shared. And that's why I always love having you with me when we are, doing our work together at this level, is that your voice is so important to speak in ways that elevate what I've been talking about. And these foundations that are being laid for others, and most we hear a lot of this and just be sort of mind blown in a sense and not understanding that this is really just the beginning. and the way that you are going to be a new industry standard and a new marketplace trendsetter, so to speak, is that you have to have that focus of, yeah, I'm not here to compete. I'm here to take my rightful place, because if you don't take your rightful place, you'll just be washed up in all of what is. So you have to be able to rise and to be able to overtake and to ultimately dominate in a perspective, which, I can talk about this subject, on so many different levels, so many, different dimensions. But yeah, the mindset, the mission, and definitely having the money model in place is vital. And I have some more M's, for sure around that, Joseph. But I wanted to be able to share, just these, because they definitely build upon what we talked about in the first part of this. And even though it may seem like this is where you need to start, this probably should have been part one in a sense, but the way that it actually works is that the expansion of the concept has to be evoked in the minds of others, so they get a grasp around what this is, and then bringing them to where now here's where you have to be focused, because the transformation comes by the renewing of the mind. But the renewing of the mind, first of all, has to have some concepts before it to start the renewal process. So this is why this particular aspect came in the second half, is that now that there's been the disruption, if you will, in terms of what multiplicity-preneurship is and what it's about to get people thinking. Now the transformation can come, and now the singularly focused on the mindset is, the way I'm dominating and taking over the media for my industry is it's going to be with multiplicity. See, a lot of times people are thinking, hey, I got this agenda and I'm going to maximize and dominate in this particular area and this, and that can happen. But when you have a multiplicity-preneurship focus, that means that you are dominating that perspective on multiple levels, and which is something that we've been talking about in terms of when you position yourself on different platforms and you are communicating, articulating, demonstrating a certain level of your brand preneurship and your empirepreneurship, that expression on these different platforms, that's what's creating the domination effect, because you're getting them in one area and getting another audience that connects to you in that area, and ultimately cohesively it can work together as a massive empire. So I can go on obviously about this. So what I'm going to do right now, Joseph, is give an invitation for others to listen to the first training that we did on this, or ones who have again listened, be sure to re-listen to the part one, and those links are going to be in the description box. I want to mention publications for you to explore, and we talked about these in the last one, but I want to bring them up again because I always want to give the invitation to implementation so that you can have what you need to get into action right away. So we've been talking about this domination effect, and ultimately you will see that it will play out in your revenue factor in a higher level. And so two publications that are related to the revenue factor as it relates to multiplicity are these two here. So Joseph has a publication that is Brand Building with Multiplicity Entrepreneurship Made Easy, and it's about how to create multiple streams of revenue with multifaceted branding, and it's an action planner. And I was a contributor to that publication as well. And then I have one that is the Multiplicity-preneur Revenue Factor Made Easy. It's all about the basics of repositioning your empire for revenue recognition as a multiplicity entrepreneur, and that is a journal planner. And we talked a lot about focus, right? And I'm like focused on the domination, aspect. And so I want to also mention a publication that's called The Main Thing. It's an intentional task management planner for multiplicity entrepreneurs. So, you need that domination focus to be able to focus on the main things of the development of your brand and empire expression that you want to bring forth, in the media, to be able to set these new standards and to take things beyond, where they've been. So want to also bring up two publications that are really dealing with the conscious multiplicity aspect. And this right here is vital because this also plays into the mindset, as well, is that you need to be more aware of what you're doing in terms of your development as it relates to your brand and just your overall entrepreneur experience. So the Conscious Multiplicity Branding Factor for New Era Entrepreneurs is a basic introduction to multifaceted branding for next level business success. It is an action planner, and Joseph contributed the forward to this particular work. And then we have the Multiplicity Marketing Factor Made Easy. It's an intentional multi-level marketing journal planner for multiplicity entrepreneurial success. So you need all of these components working together like a hand in glove so that you can elevate yourself off the traditional grid and start, getting into the frameworks that are requirements and chief cornerstones for this marketplace shift, that's taking place. So shared quite a bit, within this particular training. Joseph, you have any final thoughts before we conclude?
Well, my final thought would be for business owners, let's level up. Very simply, it's time to level up your media domination, take it to the next level, take your business to the next level, take your mindset to the next level so that you can be in position to really dominate and present forth your best image and establish your best presence in the marketplace. Utilizing these three M's that would allow you to do that in the best way.
Mm, well stated. You are always just the boss of concluding with empowerment. I mean, if you listen to Joseph, you should definitely be getting into action because there's no sitting around on anything after he, delivers. That's why I love for him to commentate and also to close us out because it's just always, phenomenal. So Joseph, thank you always for the
Thank
work
you
that we
so
do together.
much.
You're welcome. I appreciate you so much. I just want to mention that all of what we've shared in terms of resources and more information that you can learn about Joseph and I is going to be in the description box. So you'll see that, the publications and just some information. So I just want to say that you certainly have what it takes to create this media domination effect with multiplicitypreneurship. It is time for you to take your rightful place of ownership in the media. It's time so that you can ultimately make the impact and the income that you are designed, you are hardwired to make. One thing I want to say is that if you don't own the media, if you don't take ownership, it can very well own you. And most of the time, it already is owning people's time and just a lot of their lives because they have not taken ownership of themselves, ownership of their brand, ownership of their higher level business empire agenda, right? So it's time to dominate in your own right and be that authoritypreneur that ultimately overtakes and dominates, in your industry in the right ways. So hope you found this conversational training beneficial. We look forward to bringing you more of these types of trainings in the near future.